and you want to advise your patients, telling that patient about your faith, the institution has every right, the establishment you are in has every right to sack you from there, because your moment of practicing your work there is to rather encourage the patient to be strong, say things that will make them healthy, try to talk about the physical things that you've learned, advices that you know about the things that can make that patient, be uplifted and, come off the idea of fear of what his faith or what his physical experiences is doing to him. It's not about anything spiritual. You have studied about the body, the human body, and you know that is what you have to talk about. That is your gospel. Your gospel is the talking about the human body, the fleshly attributes that you know physically. But if you want to link it with the spiritual thing, you have deviated. You've gone through all those for nothing, and the establishment cannot tolerate that because they have no answers to spiritual things. So if you want to tell patients about that, you are missing the whole point, and you are diluting the medication that you are supposed to give that person, both mentally and physically, materially, with something spiritual, which won't work, because you will end up making that person have a wrong diagnosis. You are mixing his drugs that he's supposed to take from you. That is true counseling advices. These are all healing process. If you counsel them well, you're healing them. But if your counseling is going along the spiritual side, you are giving them the wrong antidote that they need. Others will want to mix it, but I don't know how that works. Because the spirits, if you read the books, the spiritual things are different from the material things. In fact, they don't really work in any way. They don't really blend. They're not tolerated. The Bible or the religious book of the Quran does not tolerate much of the physical things or physical approach of things or the materialistic way of doing things. It is quite a different thing altogether. So it's these things are clear. You have to be very realistic when it comes to these things. So I'm thinking about this, and every day I'm here suggesting it to you, because I'm out there also, and any experience I go through, I think it through. I may not be ready to debate with that person, because sometimes it's pointless. It depends on the situation. You don't have to always go crazy about things that, what's the point? What are you trying to sort of prove that instances you won't be able to make sense to that person? You want to hope that person would understand. When I had to pray, what do I pray? My prayer is to make sure that at the end of the day, people will come to that realization of truth. They will come to that realization of truth and accept truth the way it is meant to be accepted. That is my hope. That is my greatest desire. People can use their knowledge, their understanding that they use to learn and to become that educated person that they are. They sort of put it into the sense of understanding the book. People use the trick. You can see that religion, people who are not educated can even become, religious, and they get away with things. But they want to say that the book is spiritual, has got spiritual meaning, and proverbs, things that can only be understood spiritually. I don't know why they use that trick, but yet it is translated through, it's translated in words in English for people to. It's not being translated in spirit. I don't know if there are spirit words, or spirit writings. It is more clearly written in black and white, just like any other book. You can read the word, the letters are there. And it's a language, a communicatable, test for you to read and see and sort of think about whatever the person or the language is trying to pass on to you. And you are telling me that it is spiritually, it requires a spiritual, requirement to sort of make that kind of interpretation. People are just sick in the head. It doesn't work that way. I'm a wreck. I may be at work. There are so many people who are walking on the streets of London streets and American streets that, did not make it well in life, but they never end up inheriting something or sort of, and they are highly disappointed and their life has been wasted and they are disappointed, and because the fact that they were so religiously, what do you call it? They were so religiously, addicted, should I say, possessive, or of their faith or religious faith, fanatics, I would say. People who were so much, way above the understanding of faith. They sort of take things in so many sense, and that lead them to become violent to themselves, or their understanding was in a different course. I don't know. Some people are so tough about these things, and in their rigidness, you can see that it doesn't really turn out well. And sometimes you see people's life, out there, and you'll be surprised to find out that it is faith that has wrecked their life. And others who are smart, they are into faith, but their life don't get wrecked. Even though they are into it, they are still having their life going on. They're not going to sacrifice their abilities and their everyday secular life with religion. They don't do that. They won't tell you that, but they don't do that. And that is the only way they can be able to. They are able. That's what I suspect, that is the only way they are able to do it, to make it. Because deep down, the fact that you go along with them and they may sing along with you, they may dance along with you, they are also seriously and more interested in the secular life activities, like whatever it is they are interested in is nothing to do with religion. You probably will so much focused on reading verses and chapters and knowing all the verses of a book, or all the surah words and all the Quran words. You want to know all that, but they are not into that. They will rather spend their time in studying and knowing the other things that materially can benefit others and benefit the human race, or sort of be part of something that they feel that it's more real. And you see them becoming doctors and musicians, and whichever ways they choose, talented areas or anything that they can use the brain to sort of achieve. And they make a fool out of us every day. Yeah. If you got into that type and thinking that, wow, I never, focusing on my Bible strongly will sort of give me all that I want. It will make me become a good doctor. I will survive. I know of a lawyer or someone who was practicing law, and in his state of Jehovah Witness follower, that kind of person, and his continuous holding on the Bible, he probably will have so many Bible verses that will encourage him to stay as he is. This guy, I'm telling you, had to do the bar exams probably 4 or 5 times. It wasn't a one-time approach in getting it. I remember what he had to do. He'd do it and do it and do it again. He wasn't passing. He wasn't getting his bar, eventually when he got it, he practiced for a few months or so. He had to travel out of the country. So he didn't really benefit from it. And even the country that he had to end up, he cannot practice there because he had to redo the bar again in that country and then become a lawyer there. Now his God was all the time there, but he will use a test in the Bible to tell him that, oh, God knows what is best for me, and he wanted to know. He had to end up with the marriage. Most of the time, that's what happened. They put a marriage on your neck. Most Christians these days think that marriage is a problem solver, or sex is a problem solver. And so